But y'all, if y'all have like worse drama, then like if you want, you can spill it in the comments, and like I'm here to listen. Like drama is so silly. I love you guys. Good night. Bye. Get ready with me while I tell you guys a story about how the cops showed up at my door. So it was like 1 year ago, and me and my friend were just hanging out in my room, and we heard a knock at the door, and we
like, he's the problem. Well, I already knew, but she realized he's the problem, and she was just like, yeah, I knew something was wrong. Like, I knew this, that, and the third. She was like, I said, have you ever met him in person? She's like, no. And I was like, well, he told me he was coming back here with his things. I haven't heard from him. I keep calling him, bro. At this point, I might have called him like 70 times trying to figure out what's going on, and he's just not responding. So then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go back to, are you going to get your child? Are you going to...
After living together, and he basically talked to me because we were pretty good friends, and he told me, hey, like, honestly, she makes me kind of uncomfortable, so I think at some point we're gonna have to have a conversation about this. But right around the time period this was happening, I got an internship offer, which meant that I had to move away for 3 months while Amy and James lived alone together. So I flew down to San Francisco, and for a couple months, Amy and James were living alone in the apartment together. And James was basically constantly texting me while I was away.
Back to the dorm room. As soon as I open the door, I see both of them unclothed on top of each other on the bed, doing the nasty. So for some reason, I had a broom and I threw it at my uncle, and I went to my friend's apartment that night. And when I told my mom about it, she said that it was my fault because weirdly enough, they praised all the boys in my family. Story time about how he cheated on his baby mama with me. So a little background information. There was this boy, and we're gonna call him John. John and I knew each other through one of our mutual friends. We're having a good time when one of my friends dares me to go over and sit with this one kid. And he was sitting alone, he was kind of shy. And of course I did because they had offered me $10, guys. Can't beat that. So I go over there, we start talking, and I realize that he's actually really nice. And he's really hot. I never really saw what he looked like because he was always wearing hoodies during school. Anyways, we started hanging out more, and eventually he said that he liked me and we started dating. The relationship seemed pretty perfect. Well, 6 months in, I told him that if he wanted to do anything, he had to get my grade up for me. So he did just that. Well, for the next couple of months, I would go over to his house to study, like for part 2. Part 2 about how I slept with my teacher and got pregnant. So like I said, I got tired of putting effort in to get my grade up, so I let him hit, and then I was going over his house after school. Well, later on at the end of the year, I find out that I'm pregnant. And because I was 18, I really didn't have to care about what my parents thought. So I told him, and
You might ask, he really needed on his camera roll private story. He really needed, guys. It was necessary for him to post a dual camera of them on their date. He had to do that so badly that he had to take me off of the story to do that, after he begged me to get back together with him the night before and slept in my bed the night before. So I blocked him on all platforms, have been no contact ever since except for last night, which I just told you about. They started,
yanking it out. He put ice on it to numb it and everything. It was just a whole big process, bro. It just took up. I'm surprised I didn't have to go to the doctor, but he got it out. It's just swollen. It's so swollen now. Like, oh my God. But yeah, that was just an interesting morning. Y'all do not understand how late to school I am. I'm so late. It is 8:14, and I'm supposed to be there by 8:30, and I still haven't done my hair yet. Like, we show no.
makeup. I don't think I ever blocked her though, so I don't know if she's gonna see this. You know, guys, always follow your dreams. If you want to be an influencer, go for it. It's so much fun. But, be original. Have your own thing going. Anyways, I need to get to work soon. I just thought that was a little funny story. I know it could be a lot worse, and bigger influencers probably have some way crazier stories that I don't necessarily like to hear, but that's up to you. So, yeah, that's it. Bye, guys.
Get ready with me while I talk about my stalker story.
Her answer is something different. So that was just always something that I would think, why is she lying? But I could never bring it up because I would look crazy. And tells me that she's dating this guy and everything's going good. And obviously as her friend, I'm like, yes, sis, like, you got your little bae or whatever. But she had this thing for older guys. She always used to tell me that she wants, I don't want to say an uncle, but she likes an older guy. And I was always like, girl, like, you're just young. Like, you're too young.
I ended up getting my ass beat. They also told me that they were going to take me to a priest to get an exorcism. So I basically moved out of my parents' house and I moved into my uncle's house, who is a part of the LGBTQ community. And he's in full support of my boyfriend and I's relationship. I blocked both of my parents and I haven't talked to them ever since I moved out. Well, that's a lie. The only time that I did talk to them was to wish them a happy Mother's Day and happy Father's Day. But other than that, I decided that I want to be happy, and to be happy, I had to keep them out of my life. Story time about how I got away with sleeping with my best friend.
Just got a lyric.
Hurry, Grandma, read it.
I'm feeling blank. Oh, I wish I had a blank.
I know the answer. It's an easy one, but I can't tell you. We're only allowed to give hints.
I'm feeling lovely. Oh, I wish I had a sandwich.
No, Grandma! It was I'm feeling lonely. Oh, I wish I had a lover.
It's okay, sweetie. Grandma was old anyways.
Hey, girl.
Oh no, I just got a lyric.
Hurry, read it.
If we ever broke blank.
Every day after school, I would go over to his house. Sometimes he would be late coming home, though, because he would have soccer practice. But I would go to his house anyways because I was friends with his sister, who was also in the same grade as me. Well, his older brother was a senior in high school. Well, the one day I went over his house and his sister wasn't home. She was tutoring at school or something. And neither were his parents. So I texted my boyfriend saying that I was just gonna go home. And he said, no, stay, I'll be there in like 30 minutes. While I was sitting on the couch, his brother comes downstairs. So he comes and sits.
It said follow again, like request. And I knew that that was because she declined my request to follow her. So me being me, I took my old account that she had no idea about because it was like from middle school. It had like 12 followers. And I'm not even kidding you guys. I look back 11 to 12 minutes later and she accepted. Mom called me, but she accepts the request and I'm looking through her videos because I'm like, why? Because again, like the suspicion in the back of my head was already the fact that she left me undelivered. Then she declined my request. I'm like, what is this girl possibly hiding? Like,
but there's this old guy sitting outside. He says to me and my friend, hey, can you girls come here, help me pick this up? At that point I was like, okay, yeah, let's just go help him. Like, it's an old man, what could happen? He was like, here, like, can you pick up this piece of paper for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. I go to pick it up. The man grabs my wrist. I pull my hand back as fast as I could, and he gets up out of his chair. He's like, who do you think you are for doing that? And he says to me and my friend, you two are such...
These rules needed to be put in place because of my actions. But on top of the screen time, I was never really freely allowed to have social media until I was around 18. I don't even know if all you guys know, but when I first blew up on TikTok, I wasn't even supposed to have TikTok. So essentially, I snuck it like the rebel I am. And when I first got Instagram and Snapchat, they were both on my mom's phone. They've also always had all my logins. At one point, I did actually end up having a flip phone for a month. I think like my sophomore or junior year. Everyone thought it was so funny. But that was a consequence. Next thing I always saw. They trying to be. They trying to be. She wanted me.
Big Zizzy! What's wrong?
I'm sorry. I stole your lipstick and I put it all over my face. It was a mistake and I really hope you forgive me.
I can't believe you took my lipstick again. What's wrong? Baby, you're just a terrible wife. Don't you?
Guys, stop fighting.
I just got a timer over my head. So did I.
You've got a tongue twister.
What's a tongue twitter?
Uh-oh, you must read it very slowly, because if the tongue twister twists your tongue, you die.
I'm like, as if she's actually done this, guys, I've mugged myself off. Why do I pull up and she's at my house? Why do I pull up and she's at my house? Why do I pull up and she's at my house? Obviously, I didn't let her in. I told my sister, don't even open that door, otherwise... that's it, we're done, you're not my sis anymore. She came to my house to try and beg for forgiveness. Obviously I weren't having it because she's just weird. Like, she would sit there and try and justify why she said these lies about me, and I was like, listen.
I was sobbing, literally sobbing. I ran upstairs to my mom and I was like, mom. And she was like, what's happening, what's wrong? And I was like, there was a police officer just at our door not that long ago. And I handed her the card and I was like, he told me to call you. And I was like having a freaking panic attack and I didn't know what to do. And my mom was flipping out because when a police officer shows up to your door.
Showing up, we had a sub for like 3 weeks. And she came back one day and she never came back again.
And then we had like the final teacher, which like we love her.
Yeah. Now we're getting into like the rules that were a little bit too much. Okay, so first of all, we weren't allowed to have dirty shoes. Like you had to keep your shoes clean or like beat up. They had to be like clean. And another rule we also had was our hair could never be dyed. So aside from brown, blonde, black, that kind of.
So I'm glad that they got together and stuff. This one's probably like really obvious, but I used to be those like girls, like part of like the girls that would like sit in front of like the bathroom stalls and like take up the whole area like vaping, even though I didn't have one. So like I would pass around my friends at the time, and like 13-year-old me was like taking up half the bathroom with her and her little vapor friends. So, and of course we like didn't.
So can you? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching. Bye.
Two guys fought over me. Like a full freaking fist fight. I'm sorry, I'm so happy. This has never happened before. I don't know, I just feel like I'm pretty enough to attract, but not pretty enough to keep. But like, okay, let me just tell it. Basically, so this was like a while ago, like 6 months ago. I was talking to this guy, but it was literally for 2 days. I'm not even kidding. And I'll give y'all a more in-depth story on that if y'all want. And so I was talking to him, and then I found
life-changing news, but you need to trust me. And she thought it was like a prank or a joke, and I just had to tell her, like, it's not a prank, it's not a joke, here's the news. And then I sang her a song, basically being like, I'm carrying your baby, I'm carrying your baby. At first, she thought it was a complete and utter joke, which is when I stood up and basically showed her my baby bump. Which is when she stood up, she felt the baby bump to make sure I wasn't, like, pushing my stomach out to prank her.
Seeing boys. Nice and glowy now. Just using this little NYX concealer. I never wear foundation, actually. Fun fact, I just use concealer and bronzer. Perfect duo. Me and my group of friends, we fell in with this kind of group of bad boys, if you like. They were into sort of heavier things other than just drinking. And this one guy that I met, I was really obsessed with him. I was so into him. I just remember talking about him all the time, wanting to see him all the time, even though he was the biggest fucking waste man. I absolutely hope you are not watching this. If you are, I wish you all the very best.
Hey, it's me.
Oh no.
I'm glad there's always music playing, Tommy, so we can have a dance party every single day.
Yay! I love music and dancing. The music may seem fun, but it's not. It's deadly. If you hear the music stop, you must stop moving and turn into a statue, or else you'll be killed.
I didn't know that, but the music's never stopped before, so I don't think it's going to.
Am I supposed to be a statue now?
Well, while she was at a visit, we went through her things, like for part 3. Part 3 about my weird cellmate. So like I said, we asked her what she was in for, and she didn't answer, so we found that weird as heck. So then she went for a visit, and we searched through her stuff and found her paperwork. We found out that she was in because she attempted to unalive her husband, in which he got a restraining order. So at this point, we're like, this is weird as hell, and she needs to go. Like, she gotta go. So now the entire pod comes together, and every single one of us wrote a letter pleading the staff.
When we first started dating, he was really sweet. We would hang out all the time, and we had such good chemistry. And you know, we were Snapchatting because I lived like a few hours away from him. And he goes, all my exes have hurt me in the past. Now us women, that makes us think, oh, I want to be the girl who doesn't hurt him. And I was like, well, how many ex-girlfriends have you had? He goes, like 9. And at that time, I was blinded about how happy I was.
Been in your purse, like, girl, like, it's easy. I was, like, trying to look so, like, I know what I'm doing. So everything was going as planned. Like, it was good. Oh, my God, my layers. But they was going well. And so we were, like, walking out. I was like, we ate. Like, we did that shit. Like, period. And then we get stopped by this tiny-ass man with, like, mall security. And he was like, show me your bag. And I was like, girl, don't do it. Like, come on, let's go. Don't do it. And she starts crying and opens up her bag. And, like, I should have ran thinking.
That's just not me. So, yeah. Bye, guys.
Get ready with me while I tell you about my disastrous cheer tryouts. Like, think of everything that could go wrong during a tryout. And that's exactly what happened in mine. So basically, I was at home, right? I was practicing my cheer right before I had to go in, everything, dance, all of it. And when I say I knew all of the material like the back of my hand, I knew all the material. Like,
what would you do if you found out your best friend was stealing from you? Because that's exactly what happened to me, part 3. And I'm so sorry this video took forever. I know you guys are hating on me, but it took me forever to have the time to film this. I haven't even done my makeup, number 1. Number 2, it takes me at least an hour to edit each video. And number 3, I was still dealing with all this. And now that me and her are officially not friends anymore, stay tuned for all the crazy stories I have about her, like all the things she's done to me. But anyways, after I saw her wearing my clothes on my TikTok, I was like, no freaking way. And like, I'm not just gonna drop this because we were
for about 3 or 4 weeks. We took our relationship a little bit further, and his parents knew that he was gay and that we were in a relationship. But my parents, on the other hand, did not know. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how I came out to my very homophobic parents. So, like I said before, my boyfriend and I had decided to take our relationship a step further, and his parents knew that he was gay and that him and I were in a relationship. But my parents, on the other hand, did not know. They just thought that him and I were best friends.
Dating this kid at her job, and there's this other boy there who she starts having sex with, who has a girlfriend, and she is well aware of that. And while she's having sex with him, she's also texting another kid that also has a girlfriend. Now, I wasn't stressing about it because I trust my boyfriend and I know he wouldn't do anything with her. Tries adding him on TikTok. I was like, whatever, Instagram.
So over the next 2 years, her and I are hanging out every day, sneaking out together because we also live like 2 minutes away from each other. And my brother decided that he was going to bring his friend Noah. And I had a crush on Noah, and Sophia knew this, but she would always flirt with him in front of me. I really should have saw this as a red flag, but you know, we love to ignore those. And then out of nowhere, Sophia starts dressing like me and starts getting more popular in school. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how this girl pretended to be my best friend just to go on vacation with me. So like I said, she
doesn't mean that they're still not a shitty person. All of the things my best friend of 13 years did that made me cut her the fuck off, part 2. By the way, thank you for 20k hobknockers. There are 20,000 of you. I have so many more stories to tell. So if you resonate with any of these, just hit the follow button and become a hobknocker. Nut. Don't ask me why this happened because I couldn't fucking tell you still to this day. She was a part of a group chat when I was in high school that was literally just made to make fun of me for dyeing my hair blonde. It quickly went from being about hair.
One night when I was having the same exact dream, a strange man in the alleyway told me I needed to go there. After a lot of persuading, the next day me, my mum and my dad went into the city centre about 40 minutes away from us to try to find the alley. As we walked to the place in my dream, we noticed an alleyway going off the main path that we'd never noticed before. And down that alleyway, I saw the same creepy man that was in my dream.
Bro, like, let me go. And he's like, come on, just give me your number. He had the ashiest lips ever. One of his friends screams, just give him some head at the top of the staircase. Like, we ain't gonna tell. I said, huh? Another one chimed in and goes, just give us all some head. And I was like, whoa. Like, I yanked my arm away and I start fastly walking down the stairs. And this is when it starts to escalate. All of his friends start to get up and he starts saying, come on, like, why are you being like that? And they all start freaking following me. They were literally telling me that I was ugly anyway.
Bright and early on Monday to talk to the principal and whoever else she needs to talk to, because I feel like these teachers are really picking favorites. Like, if you're not talking to them every day and smiling in their face and kissing their butts, then they're not going to be on your side. Sorry. Because why is the principal laughing with a student that had just gotten into an argument, but she was being all smart and rude to me? Like, she thinks she's so scary. Like, we had meted before. Like, all of us, we had all...
I'm not putting a finger down. Brianna, if you lie, you'll be eliminated. Put a finger down if you've ever committed tax fraud. Sophie, you've committed tax... Baby! I love stealing Big Sissy's makeup. It's so much fun.
Brianna, you did something wrong. You stole your big sister's makeup. Now you must make things right. You must right your wrong before the timer runs out, or else you die. Live or die, the choice is up to you.
To be like, oh, like, let's split it or whatever. No, this man says to me, we have to get this itemized because you drank more than me. I drank one more beer than he did, but yeah, sure, okay, great, sounds good. So the waitress comes and he asks for like another copy of the check or whatever. He calculates how much he owes, how much I owe. the tax, whatever. Then he says, oh, the nachos were $15. Can you give me $5 for the 4 tortilla chips you ate? He counted how many tortilla chips I had. So then I was like, yeah, okay. So I gave him my card.
At least 3 million of those followers are from stealing my POVs and Alana's POVs. Like I said, like, this is such a first world problem, and you may not understand why it's a big deal, but as a creator who makes original content and came up with scripts and spent hours on them, it was kind of just like, ugh, like someone stealing my content, like, after I just worked so hard on it, and hers is doing better. Like, her content was doing better than my content, which was the original. Yeah, I'm not gonna call her out or anything, like, I'm not gonna